Welcome back to One Piece Anime Review, episode number 86. This one I'm viewing episodes 909 to 914. Yes, I effectively, with this batch, I have 2 more episodes left, and then I'll be done. Yep, I will be officially done with One Piece episodes. And oh boy, there's a good amount of character debut in these episodes. First up, we have Kanjuro, who appears in episode 909. There's no credit for his English dub actor. He's mostly a priest who interacts with Shinobu, I think her name is. She's a snake woman. Yeah, she's a minor antagonist in the series. Yeah, she works in a Black Maria. She pops up later on, but she's a fairly recurring character. We have Serasu, we have Genosuke, who does not speak. Chichiya. There is also the debut in these episodes of Koshiro. Yes. He is voiced by Christopher Wankamp, which this guy is a guy who also was in My Hero Academia. And you're thinking, who the heck did he voice? Well, in Fire Force, he voiced Tashihama. In Ace Attorney, he's the voice of Miles Edgeworth. In My Hero Academia, this guy is the voice of Razorhead. So you have Razorhead voicing a Yakuza. Yeah. That's the whole thing with this character. He is a Yakuza. Though the secret about him, which I'm not going to reveal because they reveal this a little bit later in the arc. His nickname is the Napping Dosha because he has tendency to fall asleep in the middle of a conversation. And he's a big character in this arc. There was also Hera, which they don't credit anything back to this one. There's also the debut of Toki. Yes. Odin's wife makes her debut in episode... Well, she's technically going to debut in episode 893. You could say this is for full appearance of the character. She does not have a credit for an English dub actor for some reason. No, they don't. Odin himself, who is a big character in flashback for this arc, he is voiced by Robbie Daymond. And you're thinking, who the heck is Robbie Daymond? Well, aside from this series, he mostly is the voice of Spider-Man. Yeah, in a lot of various media. He's been active since 1995. He's been, let's see, he was voiced Smokey Brown from JoJo's Adventure Stone Ocean. I think it was Stone Ocean, was Battle Tenacity. And Spoonie voiced a couple characters in that one. He's the voice of Gil Thunder from Seven Deadly Sins. He's Moment Rider from One Punch Man. He's Carl Leffler from the 2011 Hunter x Hunter series. In ReZero, he's Reinhard von Astra. I believe he's Red, if I'm not mistaken. He's the voice of Mitsuke from the English dub for Boruto. It's a guy from Demon Slayer. He's in Jujutsu Kaisen. He's the voice of Megami. Yeah, I think he's like the supporting male lead of the series. He's also the voice of the awesome Veneer from Konosuba. He's weird. Also, the new voice actor for Sota. Yes, he is not the original dub actor for him. No, for some reason for this one they replaced him for some reason. He's also the voice of Fleckturn. Plays one episode. He's also in Police Eyes of War as Jern Hosworth. There's also the debut of Ashura Doji. Yes, which they don't credit as English dub actor, but I recognize the voice. It's Rico Fajero. Yep, I recognize that voice anywhere. It's him, despite the fact they don't credit him here. That is his voice. I recognize when he's not drunk, when he's speaking normally, that is Rico's voice. How? At this type of series. He, of course, is another big character for this particular arc, but he doesn't play a role until like about halfway through this arc. That's when he plays his role. He just introduced here, riding on his bull, and he gets scared out by Kaido, which I'll get to more into that. And mostly put, he was first introduced in a flashback. He as a guy who was defeated by Odin, then became a subordinate, along with all his men. And after Odin died, he became a criminal again. We also debut of Kamasaro, who does not speak in these episodes. It's a very brief appearance, episode 9-10. But yeah, that was his debut. We also debut Jumon, who, well, is a former retainer. There's also Kurosawa, Takashiro, who's an ally of the Alliance. We also debut of Shinobu. Yes, a character who was a big character, who was also a big character in this arc too. Yeah, and when she first showed up in the series, she was kind of chunky. Yep, she was a chunky woman. And she, by the way, the character is 49 years old. And she's very mature. She's voiced by Morgan Larry Gurrit. The actress is only 37. And aside from, being in this series, she's also been in Torque with Tina. Let's see. Attack on Titan is Rico Pursuya. One series I have watched, I never reviewed it, Dragon Academy. It's a very interesting one. She was in Sakura Undying Love as a character appeared for a couple episodes. Tokyo Route A. Let's see. Euro Balfest from my smartphone. Wasn't sure about bringing it back as it's coming another season this year. Tio Karis from Afria, which I hope this one gets another season. Akira Mondo from Tokyo Re. Sol Maran from Black Clover. I believe she's the muscular woman who works for Charlotte. Card Captor Sakura Claire Card as Koko Matsuki. Let's see. And that's it. That's it for her. Shinobu, very important character this arc, and plays a big role and helps train Nami to become a ninja. Yep. She makes her debut by coming out the ceiling, like traditional ninjas do. There's one more, Chico. No credit for a dub actor for her, but yeah, both of them 914. So, in these episodes, aside from basically the debut of these brand new characters, well, we react with Kinemon in these episodes, makes his return to the series. I would say this is a more proper return for him, first time since Zoe, because he did brief appear in a flashback, but yeah, but that was before Luffy showed up, but this proper return for him. Or reveals another secret he withheld from the Straw Hats. The fact him, Momonosuke, Renzo, and Kanjuro are in fact time travelers from 20 years in the past. Yep, they time travel here from the past to future, thanks to Momo's mom, his hot mom, because she's got a different power that allows her to jump into the future 20 years. And it was rumored, despite the fact she's parents of a 36-year-old, she's actually around for over 800 years. And Oden fell in love with this woman and married her, and she gave him 2 kids. One happened to be Momonosuke. The other happens to be his beautiful sister, who is briefly here in the flashback, but she plays more of a supporting role a little later on. And apparently she also has drawn the attention of the evil shogun. Yeah, he has a thing for her, despite the fact she actually is, well, the daughter of somebody he knows. Yes, the shogun. Yeah, the guy is a pervert. And they allow this guy to become a shogun thanks to manipulation. By the way, the shogun himself, the Seven-Period Silhouette, he does not physically appear in this episode. Nope, it takes a sweet time to finally appear. So, after basically, they kind of explain, not the full story per se, of how basically they, let's just say, the full story of Oden per se. That's a little bit later in the arc. And that's a great story. I love Oden's story. The flashback itself takes about 20 episodes, but it's done really well. I love the Oden story because it is so fun. Especially since you get a chance to meet Gold Roger and Whitebeard in the flashback. Which I did tweet Mike McFarlane, the guy who's in charge of the dub, if in fact we're going to see a return of those English dub actors for Roger and Whitebeard. There was someone who liked the tweet, but Mike McFarlane didn't say anything about it, so I wasn't really expecting a response from him per se, but I'm sure we're going to see a return of Bruce Elliott as Whitebeard and whoever Roger's dub actor was, that we're going to see a return of these two in, well, when they get to those episodes. So, what they explain here is a little bit of the story for Oden, not the entirety of it. They did mention that Oden was executed, but not the full story. That's not shown until a little bit later on in the arc. Yeah, Bob's in boiling. Yes. So they mentioned about his first meeting with Ashura, that's actually the first time he's seen to the left, but he's not seen fully yet. But this clearly is him, though for some reason he's picked as thinner than he actually is, because Oden is a very beefy guy, and he's also very tall. How tall is he, might ask? Well, he's taller than the Gold Roger, and he's basically a little bit shorter than Whitebeard. He's one of the more taller characters in the series. Heck, he's taller than his wife and his children. He was a really tall guy. Yep. They also mentioned that he was banished from the Flower Capital. It's like they mentioned something about him that's explored a little more detail later on, which love the fact they set it up here, because Oda loves this setup for future stuff. And here it's like, we're setting stuff up here to explore later on in a big full flashback. Yep. Which is the first part flashback the series has had since, well, they did have one for Dressrosa, except they have a bit too much to flashback. Not like one. It's like, we explored flashbacks for like almost every single freaking character who appeared in that one. Here it's like one full flashback, start to finish, and we're done. Once the flashback is finished up, we occasionally go back to it, but not too much. Mostly they explore the backstory, like a little bit of one of the characters. They explored it in recent episodes of the series about one of the characters who only appeared in more recent episodes. I'm looking forward to seeing who actually gets a chance to dub this one. Plus, they have the hilarious bit of Luffy in the group where Luffy unites with half a screen, with mostly it's Nami, Carrot, Chopper, Brook, and Sanji, where they got separated. Here they appear. It takes a long time. They don't show up until like 9-10. And they were last seen back in like episode 882. Yes. Now, they do explain they got a little bit lost, and they got here just after Luffy did. It's great to see they're all fine. By the way, in case you're curious though, where the heck is the Thousand Sun, you might ask? It's still locked up in a cave. And here's the thing, it remained in that cave for quite a long time. Don't expect to see that particular ship again for about 100 episodes. Because it's one of those times when they go to a particular island, the ship makes a disappearing act. This is a common thing in One Piece, where, like in the case Alabasta, for example, where the only time you see it is on the little map they show the start of the episode, but any scenes with the ship itself, like when they have the Going Merry, it's not there because basically Going Merry is in port. And they're just on the island itself, a desert island for that one. This one is basically an island that's based upon feudal Japan. Wano. But it's not docked up some port, it's locked in a cave. And it was actually, it was Tama's idea for them to do that. So that's the reason we don't see a Sunny here. There are ships that appear in this arc, but not the Sunny. Nope, not the Sunny. So, by the way, we do see Robin, Usopp, and Frankie basically reunite with each other, but not Zoro. Zoro basically is with Luffy, Law, and Kaku for briefly, and then he jumps off there with a disturbance which turns out to be a tiger with a katana. Yes, seriously. Oh, by the way, this actually was an original addition to this arc because Zoro just abruptly disappears. There's no explanation for it. Here they give an explanation. He was chasing a tiger. And of course, like typical Zoro, he gets lost. And Zoro doesn't do anything. Like, Zoro just wanders around Wano for quite a while. I would say for the next 20 episodes, if only does anything at all, because Zoro, during the first act, he does, it's like he's good for a few episodes, and then he disappears. Yes, we met Zoro first time in a couple years, and he doesn't do anything. Well, it's like whatever he was meant to do, he just finishes up and goes off on his own merry way. And oh yeah, he's supposed to be ruining the Flower Capital. So he got kicked out because he was accused me as the Slasher. Which, by the way, in case you're curious, the whole thing about him being the Slasher, that is dropped. Yes, that is dropped because of all the crazy with Kaido. Yeah, that was a side story they actually had of him being accused of being the slasher, which they just drop because I guess Oda was getting bored of that particular plot thread when it comes to this particular arc, so he just dropped it after the first act. When we get to Act 2, the whole thing of him being on one poster, it's there, but it's not prominent like it was in Act 1. Yes, I forgot to mention when it comes to Wano. Wano is split into 4 acts. Right now, we're getting close to the end of Act 1. Act 1 wraps up with episode 916. And the one thing that this arc does is that every time for an arc, basically an act of this arc, they do like usually one, and they usually like a 1 or 2 intermission episodes where they tell something outside of Wano, and that's usually quite interesting. Now, I get the reason Oda did that because he did not want to get the story get stale, people get bored. Let's just take a break from Wano and see what's going on the outside because we left it with the reverie and basically explore it then. As a matter of fact, they basically have the first intermission comes with basically episode 917. That's the first one, first of 3. And there's a lot of exploring stuff basically related to this arc. We do see a return of characters who have not been seen in quite a while in these intermission episodes. Like, sometimes it's like one episode. I think the last one they had in this arc, they had like 2, was a quick 2-parter. And then it's right back to Wano. Oh, and also, forgot to mention this for the last video. We start off the arc. Back in Robin's attire, like the colors, the stripes on the back of her outfit, it's this also the same color stripes they use for the curtain when they open up, when they first see the flower cap for the first time. Which, yeah, that's basically just that one. So after Kinemon explains everything, then we see Kaido getting drunk. Yes, Kaido getting drunk. And him basically just going to his dragon form because he's drunk. Oh, by the way, and of course we have Ashura show up. He basically tries to steal the food that Luffy stole from the MK Pirates. And then, of course, Jack shows up, has a brief fight with Ashura. Which, by the way, Ashura does not battle him after this because after this, Ashura does not see Jack again until until Act 4. Yes, like Jack doesn't do a lot of anything at all until Act 4. Act 2 was the debut of Queen. I'll get to more to him later because he's an oddball of a character, he is. Also, he's a freaking cyborg. And he's got past with Sanji's father, Judge. Yeah. The whole thing with him is so weird. So after really fighting him, of course, Ashura gets slashed up. Here's the thing with this guy. The guy is chubby, and he has the title of the strongest man of Wano. This guy. He looks like a sumo wrestler he looks like a sumo samurai. But yet they claim this guy is the strongest samurai. They claim, oh, he's the strongest man in the world. Really? Except he runs away from Kaido when he sees him. Yeah, Kaido shows up, and he pretty much basically, actually he's like, okay, guys, time to pack it up. Let's go home. Because he does not want to deal with him. And apparently, Kaido is really insistent to have Ashura join his crew. Ashura was nothing to do with it. And in case you're curious, though, does he ever join a crew? No, he doesn't. He never joins the crew at all. He works with he works with the Alliance. Forcibly, though. I'll get to more of that later. Yeah, after he leaves, Kaido, of course, is drunk. Everyone points at the fact he's drunk. He's like, you're drunk. Like, Commander Kaido, are you drunk? He's like, I'm not drunk. Everyone's like, he clearly is. And then Basil Hawkins shows up. Yes, Basil Hawkins, who just hops around on his deer bull on the rooftops of the Leftovers town. Well, actually, I think it's more Bakura town. Hold'em is briefly seen. He thinks he might lose his job. By the way, Hold'em does not appear. He appears like once after this act finished up. He appears for like a single episode, and that's it. That's all you see of Hold'em, because it's never mentioned exactly what happened to him. He just disappears in this arc. He just is, after he's beaten by Luffy, he gets like one thing shining a flashback, but that's all you see of the guy. Oh, here's something interesting about this guy. Did you know he's based upon? Did you know that his appearance is based upon a fictional, basically a giant robot from an anime that was used in inspiration for Voltron? Yes. Yes, it was. Not sure why, though, but that's basically the whole gist of that one. So, Kaido shows up, and it seems as though Funimation may have fixed some of the problems they had that Kaido had initially, because it looked like, though, that Kaido's animation, as well he is a dragon form, didn't look like it was complete all that much. And compared to the original sub, which came out just a few years ago, which, let me see here, how long ago did this episode come out? Like, roughly like a little over 3 years ago. And in just 3 years, they basically made Kaido a lot better. Like, the definition for him, his colors, like, they balance up really well. Like, he looks a lot more complete. He doesn't look like something that looked like was partially incomplete. They had to rush out there because not enough time. Apparently, I think either Toei must have fixed the problem with Kaido in his dragon form, or it was probably Funimation. My guess is it was probably Toei, because they probably knew that Toei would be getting these episodes really soon. So, like, we gotta fix Kaido. And in case you're curious, though, does it look like this in the present stuff? They do kind of fix the problem with early Kaido later on, but I guess they must have gone back and fixed it, because he looks a lot better. Luffy ends up, well, and of course, Luffy and the group see him from a distance, Luffy and Law, which, here's the thing, Kaido does not, of course they mentioned Kaido does not know their plan. All they know is that Luffy, Zoro, and Law are in Wano. That's all Kaido knows. He does not know their plan, so Luffy and Law go out to distract him, while everybody else tries to get away. Well, in the case of Kinemon, he goes try to go see his wife. Yes, Osaru is actually his wife. Here's the thing, Osaru is 55, and Kinemon looks like he's in his mid-30s. And yet that's his wife. I'm surprised, basically, the River who doesn't allow him to age up like it does with another character, which I'll talk about later on. So, and of course, Kaido finds out his blast, which basically 913 is his debut of this thing. It's basically well, he's a dragon, obviously. And it seems like the way it looks here in this anime, it seems like the way that the redo for him, it seems like he's very similar. It's like they pretty much took the design from Shenron from Dragon Ball Z, call him blue, and basically him Kaido's face, because if you look at Shenron and Kaido, they look like almost the same exact character, the same exact type of dragon, except different color scheme. That may have happened here, I'm not sure. But Kaido was not voiced by Christopher Sabat. Kaido was voiced by somebody else. Who voices Kaido, you might ask? Kaido was voiced by David Sobolov. Yeah, and this is a guy who's 58 years old. Basically about the same age as the character plays. He was basically Lord Tiger from the Spider-Man Limited series. Yeah, but in the case of anime, this was only his second ever anime he's been part of. No, seriously, his second ever Japanese anime, because the first one he was part of was The Key Metal Idol, released in 1996. So he's doing American anime since American cartoons since he wasn't. He was Death Charge in Transformers Beast Wars. He was in Extreme Dinosaurs. Like, here's the shows he was in: Hurricanes, Mummy's Alive, The Wacky World of Tex Avery, The Extreme Dinosaurs, Beast Wars Transformers, RoboCop Alpha Commando, Sabrina Teenage Animated Series, of course, Unlimited, Teen Titans for like one episode Kron, lead superheroes as The Pursuer, and Laura Zero, Lobo, yes, this guy is the voice of the actual Lobo from Young Justice, who appeared for 2 episodes. He's the voice of Shockwave from Transformers Prime. Yep. He was also in Kaijiro Rise of the Duel Masters, regular show. He's also voice actor from. He's also in the Marvel stuff like Spider-Man, Avengers Assemble. Check some here. Hulk Agent Smash. Of course, he's obviously voicing Drax. Ben 10, Justice League Action, and Sophia the First. That was actually the last American cartoon he was part of, because I think he moved back to doing. Basically, he went back doing like Japanese anime. It's strange though for this guy. The guy is a really good dub actor, and yet he's only done 2 anime. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's the thing when it comes to what his dub actor does. So, Luffy ends up fighting him. Does not go to Gear 4 at this point. Nope. Does Gear 2 and Gear 3 fighting him. Like, fights the first one. And apparently he drops out. Basically, Speed comes out of nowhere. Yes, Speed is here. And she's wounded. Apparently, Tama's been injured someplace. Because apparently Kaido went after her. Which, after he met up with Speed originally here, he basically tossed her aside. Yeah, I think in the manga he just basically tossed her. He just put her harm's way. As for Tama herself, does she return after that particular instant when she's attacked by Kaido? She does. Oh, don't worry, she'll be found. Don't worry. So don't worry, she's not going to be there on the ground very long, which, yeah, it does leave people wondering about Tama. Then Luffy ends up fighting Kaido. Kaido basically, does that when he mentions Luffy and mentions who he is, Kaido gets angry, just charges right at him. And, well, that brawl kind of ends the episode. Yep. But yeah, really good 6 episodes. Thoroughly enjoy this. We're only a couple more episodes left to go, and then basically be done with the dub, move back to Changeman. Okay? So yeah, that's it particular view. Next episode's going to be Comic Corner, and then it's on to, well, One Piece. Well, not the dub per se, though I could easily just go back to it. I mean, it's only 2 episodes. That's what I think I might just do. Just watch those episodes, and then go straight back to do the new episode of One Piece. Yep. But next video, next one is going to be Comic Corner. Okay, next video. Bye.